Hello, this is Dean from Bridgeview Manufacturing, and I would just like to introduce you to our new Bale King 7400 chain and slat style bale processor. So this video is meant to be a fairly thorough, detailed walk around just to show you the features and benefits, and I'm hoping it'll help answer some questions for guys that are in their final stages of decision making. Chain and slat style processors are known to be very easy to operate, easy feeding, and with the offset rotor and the rotor access door, twine removal is about as easy as it gets. On our model, we wanted to focus on durability, heavy dutiness, ease of operation, and we definitely wanted to feature our exclusive 3-bale kit. It's a fairly inexpensive option, lets you carry the extra bale, and it's a real time saver in larger operations or in conditions where you just have a long drive between your stack yard and your cows. So we'll just start at the front of the machine and work our way around back, and I'll just try to explain why the way things are the way they are. So we have an adjustable hitch just to keep things nice and level. Square jack stub takes the pressure off your jack pin and keeps it from slopping out. As far as drive line goes, we use a 1000 RPM, category 6 constant velocity PTO shaft with shear bolt protection. We paid careful attention to keep the drive line level. It's level on most tractors, and this really provides a better life of your U-joints and crosses, and it improves your shear pin life. The drive line goes into twin bevel gearboxes to power the offset rotor. Bale King's always been kind of a gearbox company. We just believe in their durability as compared to chains or belts. They're low maintenance and they just hang in there for the long haul. And we wanted to make sure that our gearboxes were up to the task. So these gearboxes are heavy. They're something like 80 pounds a piece, high horsepower rating, and good oil volume. There's applications like roadside maintenance or mulching into orchards, which are high duty cycle, long hours, and high temperatures. So we wanted lots of oil volume just to provide better lubrication and better oil cooling. So these gearboxes hold something like 2.5 liters of oil apiece. We've got a single large chain drive motor. As far as hoses go, there's 3 sets of hoses standard equipment. One is for your chain conveyor, one's for the loading fork, and the third is for the main deflector. This machine includes the 3-bale kit, so it takes a 4th set of or a 4th remote. However, we have electric diverter kits to reduce it from 4 to 3 to 2, depending on your preference or the available remotes on your tractor. Looking down here, you can see 2 adjustment levers. The outer one is for the lower part of the hoops. This pushes the lowers in and out, which controls the speed of the core of the bale as it goes through. The inner lever is the bottom deflector adjustment. The bottom deflector is standard on these machines, just provides you with a little bit more control of the discharge. Both of the levers are ergonomic single-handed levers, and they are located on the left side of the machine, so they're quick and easy to adjust from the tractor cab. Coming around here is the front, or the main primary hoop adjustment, and this pushes the top of the hoops in and out. It controls the speed of the bale on the largest portion of the bale. 3 positions, so it gives you good range for a variety of applications. As I mentioned, the offset rotor on chain style machines, hiding behind this rotor access door, puts the rotor right at your fingertips for easy and clean twine removal. And when you combine it with our X rotor, it just makes things that much easier. So the X rotor, what it does, there's 2 main purposes for it. First is twine removal. As the twine wraps around, it creates a pocket underneath, which lets you cut it off with a knife or any other means much easier than on a pipe style rotor. The second reason is it's just durability. What happens when the flails, most rotors are made out of a piece of pipe. When the flail encounters something solid, it'll slap back and collide with the pipe right about there. What happens is over the long haul, those collisions will eventually fatigue the metal and cause a crack, and it ruins your rotor. These rotors are all balanced for 1,000 RPM or better, and so welding on them just isn't a great option. With the X rotor, the flail has a much larger range of travel before it ever would collide with anything, and by that point it's lost most of its rear momentum anyways, so it reduces the impacts, minimizes metal fatigue, and just makes for a stronger rotor. Our flails are 3/4 by 1.5 inch flails on oil impregnated bushings, and carriage head bolts just for easy one wrench adjustment or installation, I guess. This machine also features our optional fine chop kit. It's a set of knives that there's 3 positions. This is fully inserted, there's a halfway position, and there's fully retracted. Works good in conditions like green feed, oats or barley or something like that. The flail will draw the material through the knives and chop it up and make it a little bit more palatable for the cows. So these knives are hardened and sharpened. Looking back here, all of the moving parts inside the tub, including the rotor and the chain drive shafts, are protected by twine guards. So there's a disc and ring protecting each bearing, and they work really well. Coming back here, the machine features large flotation tires. These are 16.5 by 16.1 12-ply tires on 8-bolt rims. Also have twine guard protection, and they provide good flotation in wet or deep snow conditions. Coming back here, you can see our new 3-bale clamp and fork system. You can see it's a little bit different than our older models. It functions exactly the same. The difference is just in the hydraulic lockout system. Because the clamps and the fork can collide in certain positions, we've always needed some sort of mechanical or hydraulic lockout to prevent these inadvertent collisions. So this machine, basically we've simplified that lockout mechanism. There's a little less adjustment required, and we think it's going to just perform better over the long haul. So what we do, both of the clamp arms are mounted on this rock shaft, which is suspended by a rubber Torflex style suspension system. That suspension puts downward pressure on these arms, which sit in this slot. And what that does is anything that might cause an upward pressure on the clamp arms, it'll just roll that rock shaft up, roll the clamps up just a little bit until they hit this button, and that'll lock out the hydraulics and stop any further movement. So a typical example of that would be, just say you had a bale clamped in the 3-bale arms, a bale on the fork, and you accidentally try raising the fork without opening the clamps. All that'll happen now is these 3-bale clamps will roll forward a little bit, push the button, and it'll stop your hydraulics. All you have to do to reset it is just lower the fork, and the button will reset, and you're back in business. Back here, we can look at the fork tines. You can see there's 2 different adjustment positions. So if you're working with a narrow, like a 4-foot silage bale, you can move the tines to the inner position and pick up those bales easily. Coming back here, we can see this machine has our optional backup camera, and I can't stress how well that works, especially in 3-bale machines where you're in a condition where you're picking up maybe 1 or 2 bales from one stack and then moving to another stack to pick up your 3rd bale. Even the best mirrors on the tractor don't give very good visibility behind you. So the camera just gives you that extra set of eyes, and it just totally eliminates any misses or missed attempts, or getting out to check to see if you got the bale, or driving to the cows and finding out you never did have that 3rd bale. It's just, once you use it once, you'll be hooked. Looking over here, you can see the tightener system for the chain conveyor, and it's a little bit dark, but what we've done there is made sure that the bolts, the threaded rods for the chain tighteners, are out in the open and easy to reach with a flat wrench. We also included a built-in little tape measure just so you can easily make sure that your front and back bearings are set to the right distance or right tightness. Okay, looking into the heart of the machine inside the tub, things to consider. We've used full-length slats. We wanted to minimize any kind of dead spots within the tub. We didn't want material hanging up that wasn't supposed to be there. So these slats go right from the front right to the back. They're also a very deep channel iron with grips on them, so they provide positive grip for a variety of bale types. We use a triple chain, 2080 roller chain, so it's heavy chain. All of our sprockets are on a single drive shaft, so there's only 2 points to tighten, just a little bit lower maintenance. The idler shaft, there is like a rock trap style door underneath it, so if you get snow or ice or chaff or rocks built up in there, you can open the door from the underside, drain it, and keep your machine working good. We use extra thick UHMW wear strips that is 1/2 inch thick, so it's going to provide long wearing for for good life. Over here we can look at the hoops or slug bars or whatever you call them. People call them different things. 7 hoops seems to be work really well in most conditions. However, we do have provisions for another 6 just for anything that might come up, whether it's if you're doing all silage bales or whether you just need to slow the processing down for certain types of mulching. It just gives you the option to do that. We hide them behind little filler plates just to contain alfalfa leaves. Looking underneath the machine, what we wanted to do here was provide a lot of throat distance. It's the distance between the bottom deflector and the upper pan, and we wanted to maximize that and make the bottom deflector as short as possible, just to provide very minimal restriction for wet materials like silage or wet straw. Coming around here, we can look at our main deflector. All of our machines have a hydraulic deflector, so you can switch from bunk feeding to bedding to windrowing just with the push of a lever in the cab. We have a 24-inch rubber, which is, it's required for windrowing. However, if you need precise aim to aim straw into a calf shed or something like that, you can just flip the rubber on top of the main deflector, just on that hinge, and the main deflector will provide just excellent aim control, so you can place the bedding exactly where you want it. We've got a smooth top surface on the deflector, just to minimize chaff buildup, but there's also a gap in behind it. So when you raise the deflector to park it at night, all the chaff buildup will just slide down through that gap onto the ground and keep your machine nice and clean. Looking up at our front screen, we've screened it up all the way to the top corners, just to contain straw a little bit better. We left the center open for better visibility. Doesn't seem to be a lot of loss through that area. It's more on the outside or on the far outside edge. And the upper corner here, that actually lines up just perfectly with most tractor mirrors. And because the bale tends to sit on the other side of the machine, just because the conveyor is sloped that way, this little gap gives you very good visibility with your mirrors when you're going down the road with a load of bales. This machine, because it has 4 remotes required with the 3-bale kit, it includes the hydraulic valve kit to reduce it down to 3. And in conditions like this, we include a pilot operated check valve for the main deflector. And that valve just keeps the deflector from creeping down in storage. Like when you park it in the shop overnight, it'll just, any valve leak in your tractor or whatever, that pilot operated valve will stop creeping, down against your wall or against your truck or whatever's parked beside your Bale King. All of our machines are finished off with sandblasting and ultra durable powder coat finish, which is very abrasion resistant and very UV resistant, so it'll keep your machine looking great for a long time. These machines, they're heavy duty. We like this machine without the 3-bale kit weighs in around 5,500 pounds. So there's lots of steel in it. We've done everything we can to minimize unnecessary moving parts, and we think it's going to be a good, reliable machine. So we're excited to get them going. We've tested them all through Western Canada and the Midwest US. We've tried them in a lot of conditions, whether it's silage or dryland hay. Lots of different operators demoed them, and we received nothing but positive feedback. So these are going to be available at your dealers this fall, and we're excited to hear your feedback. So thank you for your time.